Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a bit of a maddening day for those of us who are to get here. I walked the last 2 kilometers with the traffic, which has, of course, been absolutely crazy with everything which is going on. But I think, talking of traffic and the frenzy around traffic, there's a frenzy around AI as well. And, I guess part of the reason why I report on financial markets and I look at what's happening on a daily basis. I can tell you, the only thing which has been the focus area has been, which is AI and what industry next it's going to disrupt, etc., etc. Of course, markets try to price things in far ahead of what the actual businesses and the actual disruption happens. But we're not here to talk about markets. We're here to talk about slightly longer term. And as I was coming here, I was walking, I was thinking, when we talk about big tech, we think about China, we think about US. But if there's, I guess, one country which regularly punches above its weight, it's Sweden. If you look at, something like, innovation per capita, if you can use it, that terminology with, some great companies out of there and what's happening right now. So it's got a fantastic academic science-led ecosystem. And of course, I think that's produced a fair bit of innovation and cutting-edge technology from there. So thank you all for joining us. And I hope to have we hope to learn from all of you over the next 30 odd minutes or so. Mr. Johansson, if I can start with you, sir. I started by saying frenzy, AI mania, or however you want to put it. Here in India at least, right? As you can see, a fair bit of interest around it. Is it the same in Sweden? Is there a bit of, is the interest levels, are they at the peak level, very, very high? I'm just getting a temperature check to kick it off.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's AI friendly, and I think we are quick adopters of AI. We may not build sort of the models as much ourselves in terms of developing different models for different type of businesses or applications, but we definitely adopters in a quick way right now. When you talk about AI friendly country,
I meant AI frenzy. Everyone going a little, this is here, it's going to disrupt everything. You've heard headlines from some of the tech leaders in the US, right? All kinds of timelines about how no one's, no job's going to be around in 10 years, 20 years, and those kind of things. I can't blame people for being anxious when you hear it from some of the leaders in the industry. So I just wanted to get a sense from you. Is it really, is that the sense in Sweden as well?
It might have to do with the fact that Sweden is maybe not the biggest country in the world. We actually lack engineering capability. We lack lots of people doing different tasks for us. So for us in the engineering business, I run a defense company. And of course, we need lots of engineers, but we definitely need lots more efficiency in how we develop things and how we actually implement things. And there we use AI because we can't find all the people we need. So it's definitely friendly and not sort of a threat from an industry perspective. I don't see it like that at all.
Fair enough. Mr. Bill, if I can come to you, sir. Just give us, again, a temperature check first up, and your perspective on country to country, government to government kind of collaboration on what we're seeing with these technologies. All kinds of things, right? Sovereign AI, and this is all new for everyone.
It's all new for everyone, and it's working forward very, very fast. If you just chat GPT, what was that, 3 years ago or something like that, not more than that, is the fastest spread of any technology in the history of mankind so far. And we've just seen, the latest model that's been out in the last, the latest Claude model, if you look at that, is mind-boggling what it's doing, and if you compare it to what was there only 6 months ago. Where will we be 3, 4, 5 years down the road? We haven't a clue. The only thing we know is that it's going to transform practically everything. We need to be there. Every sort of business has to be on their toes. We have to invest in research and development. We have to invest in an entrepreneurial climate. I think Sweden is doing reasonably well in all of these factors. We're one of the innovation leaders of Europe. We are one of the leaders in having good capital markets. We have good technical high schools and universities. We have too few people at them. That's the problem. And then we are...
People we can provide.
Yeah, quite. I was going to say that. We are not a gigantic country, if I might disclose that. But we are a very open country to the rest of the world. We know that our success lies both in what we do ourselves, but linking up with the rest of the world. And linking up with India, with the human talent and the size and the scale that is here. That, I think, is of strategic importance for Sweden. And that's why you have an amazingly large Swedish delegation here with the big business. That's fine, I'm all in favor, but I'm more, I am, but I'm more impressed by the number of startups and small Swedish AI companies that have come to India to listen and to learn and to link. That's the future.
Ma'am, Apollo Hospitals, of course, has been one of the early adopters of digital technologies. Now there is AI. And when I think about healthcare, it's being basically used in two areas, right? Diagnostics and drug discovery. I mean, just give us a sense of what's the state of play as you see it.
No, I think the most important use currently in today's life is in the predictive healthcare. And it is in the preventive healthcare space, as well as in the curative healthcare space. It's important for us because, as said earlier, data is dark. And for us to be able to take it into a clinical lab setting, we've actually come out with 22 use case protocols where we can look at cardiac risk, where we can triage a patient before they enter emergency, where we're able to connect to 200 connected nursing homes and predict whether they're going to have an event that will need to ICU. So I think it's predictability, it's the ability to drive change much faster, which leads to saving lives. And of course, AI in healthcare is also about doing the difficult tasks, which no one really likes to do. And that differentiates it, so we're able to speed up discharge times and improve bed utilization by 7.4%. So these are important statistics that will leverage the use of intellectual property and democratize AI, because what we do in Chennai, we want to be able to do it in the Tier 2 and the Tier 3. And we're able to do this using AI, taking the clinical protocols to the smaller towns and make healthcare equitable.
As well put, ma'am. Hari, as an investor, right? I mean, you got to watch everything. So are you watching your portfolio for where this AI thing is going to hit for disruption? I mean, we've seen this in the US last 10 days, right? Insurance stocks sold off. Broking, wealth management stocks sold off. Software, of course, started all of it. But it's not just limited to software. It started in software, but if it's going to show up everywhere. So your first thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks, Prashant. So EQT Partners is one of the top 3 private equity firms in the world. We have $300 billion worth of investments under management. In India, we have north of 15 billion investments. And like Carl said, we believe that AI is going to touch everything. And AI is really core to what we do. EQT actually invested in an internal platform called Motherbrain, which is in 2016. So it's more than 10 years that we've been working on it. And so we were one of the earliest to use AI internally. And this platform actually helps us find assets, find data recognition, patterns within portfolio companies, helps us intervene early. So AI has been very central to what we do. Today, each of our portfolio companies, we are incorporating AI to position them better, and we want each of our companies to be known as AI first. So, we are really optimistic about the long-term impact of AI and how do we integrate that and position our businesses for the future. So that's really the path we are on.
You have a healthcare business in your portfolio as well, right, Hari?
Actually, healthcare is globally for EQT. Healthcare is one of our biggest sectors. Close to 45% of our investments are in healthcare globally. And so AI touches healthcare in different aspects, yeah.
You got a healthcare business sitting next to you. And but just, ma'am, just to sort of come to you, where do you see this going? I mean, in your sector, in healthcare as a business, do you see the speed of, one thing I've heard repeatedly is that the potential of AI is large, but enterprises using it because enterprises are complex systems and there is legacy software, legacy systems, and you can't just take it, slap it on top and hope to make it work. You've got to. But for healthcare, I guess it's different, right? Especially hospitals. This is patients coming in, wanting scans, diagnostics, etc. So you can sort of apply it much more in a much wider way, you'd say?
I think it would take me 2 hours to describe the use cases for healthcare. But what I do have to say that with the AI, what we're able to do in terms of clinical outcomes are far better. To be able to do it at scale is something that that is the challenge that we currently face. But in a way, we're fortunate because if you think of India and you think of the National Health Mission, the National Digital Health Mission, you already have 750 records. And therefore, there is data available, there is portability available in terms and interoperability. So I think for the healthcare systems, there is huge potential. And I think for all of us who are running healthcare organizations, and I must be frank, I am strategy and finance at Apollo. I started by thinking of it as a cost because we work with Microsoft and work with, we do the co-pilot. We look at investments in predictive healthcare, and they're all currently investments. So we've moved from costs to investments. And I think for us, it is essential. It is like electricity. It's like plasma. You have to do it because you will be irrelevant in the future. And pioneers like us have to lead the way in adoption, in utilization, and making sure that we're able to scale it. India is the only country where we can take it to scale and become a model for the global south.
We have the people with skills. We have the data as well, right? I mean, I think the scale is, of course, very, very large. Mr. Johansson, if I can come to you, sir, with specifically in your business, I mean, I think you've offered India to put its own sort of systems AI into the Gripen fighter planes. If just talk to us about that. Why is that better why is it necessary rather for India to do it rather than sort of buy something with like a black box which you don't understand? Just talk us through it.
Now, first of all, of course, I would love to see India buying the Gripen aircraft, but that's not happened yet.
I said
you're right.
You offered.
Right. We have offered you that capability, and why is that important? Well, obviously, if you have your own data, that is the key, so to say. Okay, there are tricks, of course, to the models and the neural nets and layers, what have you, to optimize things, but the important thing is data, and the data will be the thing that must be sovereign and very sensitive for a country. It will be how you operate something, how you define your capabilities to sort of countermeasure the threat that you are exposed to. So what you do with that sort of AI agent is up to you, and that's why we're just offering an architecture, a platform where you can implement an AI agent, and we've already done that, flying it like that, and you would get your capability that is adapted to your environment, your threat environment, which is actually a very unique thing that not any other fighter capability can do.
Is AI adoption, I mean, very fast in your industry, defense?
Absolutely. I mean, look at the amount of data, the sensor data that you have to sort of digest. You can't do that in sort of the usual way. You have to use AI to quickly get to a situation awareness picture to provide something for the decision maker, the end user. But I have to say that we have a policy making sure that it's not an autonomous system in the sense that an AI agent would deliver sort of a weapon capability. There's always a decision maker in that loop. But to quickly get a view of what's going on so you can make the wise decision is absolutely, without AI, it wouldn't be possible.
I mean, I guess drones is one area, right, where we were seeing adoption very, very fast.
No, absolutely. I mean, you can't do swarm technology, you can't do any type of mission, surveillance, if you don't use AI. It's impossible. So, of course, it's adopting in a very quick way, but we have to find a way of regulating the dangerous part of this. And I'm afraid that every country is not thinking in that direction. We are in the Western democracies and India and so forth, but many countries are using the things the best way they can, which is very dangerous.
Reminds me of Skynet. I mean, if I can use that. I don't know if that's what, that's the kind of rogue AI you're talking about with weapons capabilities. That sounds scary, sir. But yeah, I mean, you got to have guardrails, as you said, most definitely. In terms of delivering some of these, designing new systems, etc., is AI being used at a high level in that as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, today you don't do sort of development and complex systems in the traditional sequential way, building prototypes, testing, and what have you. You use digital twins. And what you can do in a virtual environment with AI is so complex and so capable, so you can go very far before you have actually start to build something, which is a very efficient way of developing complex systems. It's not only maths anymore, it's actually AI you use.
Madam Reddy has a flight to catch. I'm going to give you, you have a hard stop, ma'am, right? So I'm going to just ask you just one last question, and then I think the traffic is bad. Sweden and India, right? Sweden is known for cutting-edge technology, innovation. India, as you said, has got scale, has got data. How can both countries collaborate in your sector, for example, and outside of it as well?
So in our sector, I think the first thing is to recognize that not just in our sector, but India as a whole, our spending on research is only 2%, less than 2% of GDP. In Sweden, it is much higher. I don't have the absolute figure. But if you go to institutes like the Karolinski Institute, which we are currently working with, there are protocols that have already evolved in the oncology space. So clearly, you know, there is the ability to collaborate with Sweden in terms of high-end clinical protocols. Sweden has this mission, which is Vision Zero, which is absolute safety, no risk, 100% safety, and I think that is essential for us as we continue, as we think of scaling AI. The third area of collaboration is, of course, medtech, and for me, the fourth is they have such a vibrant stock exchange. I'm sitting next to an investor. We need capital, we need intellectual property, and I think when we have a combination of both of this, we have global scale, we have a market, and I think we can make a huge impact on the global south.
Well, we certainly hope so, ma'am. Thank you very much for that. A round of applause for Mrs. Reddy. She has to leave us. She has a flight to catch. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. We'll continue the conversation here. Hari, I just wanted to ask you, when you started investing, not started investing, but I mean, say 5 years back, was AI and AI potential disruption a big factor in it, or not really? It's suddenly come into focus, sharper focus now.
Like I said, we started investing in AI and Motherbrain in 2016. So we were always aware of the impact of AI. And to take a step back, EGT is actually headquartered in Stockholm. We are founded by the Wallenberg family. And if you look at the Wallenberg family, they've been around for 170 years. They've gone through world wars, industrial revolution.
Marcus was supposed to be here, of course, unfortunately.
Yeah, so,
yes.
And within EGT, we have something called future proofing, okay, because, we have something that, that says that Wallenbergs have something that's something to the effect that the only tradition worth keeping is, getting ready for the future, right? So we've always been tech and future friendly. But even we have been surprised a bit by the scale and the pace at which it is changing. It's also one of the things to remember is peak AI is probably not in our lifetime. Okay, it's going to take many decades, and AI is going to get continuously better. And so how can we integrate it into our lives, and so if you can embrace it quickly and integrate into our lives, that actually positions all of our investments in a better way. That's how we're looking at AI.
I know it's an unfair question, but if I were to list 3 industries which you think, for the lack of a better way to put it, get hurt because of AI, and 3 industries where this is a
significant tailwind? Hari.
That is a bit of an unfair question because because we have so much so much exposure to different industry segments. But let me say that every industry can adapt AI to make it supercharged. For example, healthcare, we take 10 years to discover a new medicine. Can we use AI models to pick these molecules? We have an investment in the largest IVF chain in India. Can we use AI to pick, the right egg, for example, that can fertilize quickly? So healthcare, there is tremendous opportunity to impact the lives of people. So personally, for me, I think the impact of AI on healthcare can transform so many lives, and so it's really something for us to think about. So, but the same way AI can transform education, for example, in a country like India, where we have so many young people, 1 billion people less than 30 years of age. How can we use AI to transform education? So just being optimistic about the use of AI is important, and just adapting it and using it. I really don't think that there is any industry at risk of extinction because of AI, because the ones who can adapt quickly, even to Debjani's point about how the IT services industry has been has been written off so many times. I would say that as long as we can adapt and reimagine our business models, I don't think there's anything that can go extinct because of AI.
Mr. Bill, as a former leader of Sweden, and we all talk about industries, and there's defense, and there's healthcare, and there's IT services, and there's this and that. But is there a larger question which governments start to need to think about, which is, Mr. Vinod Khosla was here yesterday, and he's been saying by 2050, Mr. Khosla has said that there aren't going to be any jobs, and how does one do we need to consider of course there's an extreme point of view, but do governments need to start to think about those kind of scenarios of, people have for years now spoken about a universal basic income or
well, there's an academic debate about this, as you notice, and people are looking at signs of the job market really being affected, and there are some preliminary signs of AI started to have an impact on specific industries in terms of employment. But we will also see other services growing. So far, the history of humanity, if I might be somewhat larger, has always been that, well, new technologies does replace old jobs, sometimes massively, sometimes with very disruptive effects, but there has always so far been other jobs coming. And I don't think there's any reason whatsoever to assume that this particular fairly dramatic transition that we are into, that would be different. I see that in some of the things that I deal with. Certainly some things are disappearing and can be replaced by AI, but I see some things are added, because there are things that we can now do with AI that we couldn't even contemplate doing previously. So net effect remains to be seen. Debate is there, but I not belong to the pessimists.
Ari, I don't know, you're smiling, but do you have any thoughts on this? Or
on the lack of jobs by 2050, is that?
Yeah, I'm just using that. It's an extreme point. I'm just exaggerating perhaps, but I'm not exaggerating. It was Mr. Khosla who said it. I'm just only paraphrasing him. But is that, they all, of course, whenever that, the jobs question that comes up, the basic underlying thesis is that it's the age of abundance. Cost of production is going to go down. Cost of labor is going to go down. So then, how does all of it work out? Do we not need to start to think about, start to think about this? So
at least in our experience with evolution of technology, right? If you look at internet, for example, when the first days of the internet, people said that, hey, everything is going to change magically, and businesses are going to change. It did change. And there were some born on the internet companies like Amazon, but there are also companies like, Costco, for example, that adapted its business. Every business had to adapt to it, right? And we are maybe 40 years after the invention of the internet, even in a market like India, so many businesses are still internet dark, right? So if I were to take a bet from 2026 to 2050, will we reach that age of abundance? I would say that probably not, but in maybe 100 years, peak AI comes. Is that going to happen? I think it's a little bit more likely. Like if you look at, can we use AI to solve traffic problems in India? That'll be a good outcome. So we have so many problems still that need solving. So while I'm optimistic about how we can adapt technology, I still think that life is complex, and to believe that just one technology can be a magic wand, I think maybe too optimistic.
Fair enough. Mr. Johansson, just coming back to the India-Sweden partnership, exchange of ideas, technology, etc. As you said, you're hopeful with that fighter order, but what other levels do you think this partnership can work? And what's the way forward as you see it?
But so many other things as well, of course, than just talking about sort of one platform or one capability. I think we already have a good presence, good collaboration, good network of companies we're working with. I think the new big thing is that in our business, everything becomes dual use. So all the startups that we work with, we've changed our mind about sort of acquiring everyone that has great technology. That's not the way forward. You have to create your ecosystems where companies, smaller companies, medium-sized companies can do both. They can have a commercialized sort of civil application or several, and we can sort of absorb or adapt the technology that they use. So of course we want to find the best technology, but not really sort of just bring them in and make them defense companies, but rather make sure that the technology is adopted. And that is a whole new sort of approach to creating capabilities. And then you have the whole thing about everything we do is not sort of military, it's also used for infrastructure, protection, cybersecurity, the total defense perspective of a society. So many things are changing in that direction. Here, startups and great companies and technologies in India can absolutely be part of our ecosystem.
Well, I think I could go on. It's an interesting chat. It's a very diverse chat. We can go in so many different directions. But for now, I'll thank all of you for being a wonderful audience. I know it's a noisy environment. Apologies, we had to move in because of course, the weather, etc. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Bill, Hari, and Mr. Johansson for being part of this. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Engaging discussion. Thank you, Prashant. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for a special CSIS and CNBC-TV18 joint initiative. Center for Strategic and International Studies